Hey, what's going on? It's Jack Milocco for Beardbrand. Welcome to the week 44 update on the growing of my beard for an entire year. Today, we're going to talk all about forks in your beard, otherwise known as the French fork. Why do they happen? What can you do about them? And are they cool? Let's get into it. Right off the bat, I want to make something clear. Yes, there is a light down here, and the reason I'm doing that is to show you guys that there is a fork in my beard. Now, it is a little bit accentuated today, but overall, I really do have a fork in my beard. My beard grows down into the two distinct points, otherwise known as fork. If I were to naturally let my beard just go for a day, no oil, no brushing, no combing, no nothing, it would naturally just sort of split. Now again, this is a little bit dramatic, but overall, if I was to let this go longer and longer, my beard would continue to split more and more. So this really begs the question, why do beards split into these forks on some guys, and on some guys they don't get this? Well, really, it just comes down to genetics. The growth pattern that I have, and many other guys, is that this part of our beard will continue to grow a lot faster than this part in the middle. Now, I have a very definite cleft chin underneath this beard, and I've always kind of wondered if this part of my cleft is the reason why my beard is a little bit forked, but I did a bit of research and that's not realistically what happened. Again, just like with many things that occur with beards, it's genetics that play the biggest role. What was interesting when I did the research on this split in my beard was that not only is it just a genetic situation, but it's also a distinct style that a lot of guys really try and get. Of course, there are guys like me out there that just have this naturally kind of grow into their beards, but it really is a style in and of itself. The style I'm talking about is called the French fork. What was also interesting is that the French fork actually is not French. It originated all the way back in, I believe, the 8th century in the Middle East. Persian men were very fond of this style and actually went out of their way to try and achieve this style throughout the 8th and the 9th century. The French fork kind of laid low after that. You saw it in a few places. I mean, most notably what I found was a portrait of Henry the Conqueror, who was King of England. He was depicted as having a French fork in one of his many portraits. But after that, what really repopularized the French fork into the mainstream was Germans. Specifically, German Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz was pretty famous for this style. I mean, if you just look up this guy, the majority of the pictures on him, he has this very distinct French fork going on. And then from the 19th century up until now, you sort of saw it in high-ranking officers and dignitaries, officials. It was sort of a high-class kind of style. But what really kind of brought it back in the mainstream nowadays was a little flick back in the early 2000s called Pirates of the Caribbean. That's right, Jack Sparrow sort of wore a French fork variation, the tied off little beads. His was very different than what we'd seen before, and it was very stylized. I'm not saying that we're seeing guys walking down the street looking like Jack Sparrow, but it did put the idea back into the mainstream. And then, of course, you've got guys like Brad Pitt, who naturally sort of grows a French fork. If you ever look at his little goatee that he grew, it always sort of splits down into those two distinct forks. So, is the French fork a cool style? Yeah, I think it is. It's distinct. Not a lot of guys have it. It sort of harkens back to an older era. And even though you do see some examples of it nowadays, again with Jack Sparrow and with Brad Pitt, going for the full-on Alfred von Tirpitz kind of look, that's kind of cool. It's almost like going for the old school mutton chops that you don't really see too often, where you shave down the chin and you keep the big bushy sides and the big mustache. It kind of reminds me of that. Now, of course, not every single guy is going to be into this style. A lot of us get this naturally and we don't necessarily want it. So I do have a few ways you can combat the French fork if you do not want it. The first and the easiest way to take care of it is through grooming. Whenever you're combing your beard in the morning or throughout the day, just kind of direct the hair towards the center. Especially when it's wet, you want it to dry naturally into a point or a circle or a square rather than the two distinct points. That will sort of get you the more normal style rather than the two forks. If you want to take it a step further, make sure that you're incorporating something like a round brush and a blow dryer and direct the hair towards the center rather than outwards. The second way to combat the French fork, and this one's a little bit more ambitious, so bear with me, is to actually tie off your beard into a little almost ponytail thing. So get the bottom of your beard where it forks. I would say get two of these little loops and then just sort of pull it together. And this is going to happen at the beginning of the day. You don't necessarily have to walk around like this all day because trust me, I can see myself in the camera. I do look a little goofy right now. But as long as you're getting the hair, especially when it's wet, into this shape. You can pull this out after waiting a little bit, and you're naturally going to have a little bit more of a point to your beard rather than the two forks again. There are ways you can disguise that into your beard style. Some guys will tie it pretty loose, just do the one loop around their beard depending on how long it is, and you can actually get away with wearing those little bands all day. Now some guys really like to go for the full-on banded look. If you've got a very long beard, I think it actually looks really cool. Kind of harkens back to the whole braiding of the beard look. And hey, trust me, if I could, I would braid my beard in a heartbeat. It's a little bit too coarse and a little bit too short for that right now, but hey, stranger things have happened. And finally, the third way I have found to combat the French fork is to use something with a little bit of hold. Kind of like the styling balm. This is what I put in my beard every morning, and it kind of helps me just direct it into the shape that I want. It doesn't have a super strong hold, so it's not stiff and super tight into place, and it does sometimes go into a fork, but I like the option that I can kind of play with my beard and it's not just stuck in one position. If I wanted to take that shape a step further and really get that hold, I would probably melt down a little bit of mustache wax, put it into the tips of my beard, and then get the shape in there. So there you go, guys. There's kind of a quick and dirty rundown on the French fork, one of the more unique styles of beards. Now let's bring it on in, and you can see this French fork 44 weeks in to the growing of my beard for an entire year. Welcome back. Let's get into the comment of the week, which I have been dying to talk about. The moment I saw this one, I'm really interested to talk to you guys about this one because it proposes a very unique idea, okay? So this one comes from Victor Mendez from last week, and it says, before you shave it, talking about my beard, which again, I'm going to shave off at the end of the series, you should try a beard style that has been dead for thousands of years, or at least I have never seen it on a real person, not even on Google Images. Before you shave, you should try the Babylonian beard. If you look at the statues of ancient Mesopotamian kings, they would divide their beard into 5 or 6 long curls. I have wondered how that would look on a real person, and I think you would have the opportunity to try it before shaving it. Okay, so this is a very different beard style. Again, I searched all over the internet, and I really did not find a single picture of a living person, any photograph or anything of someone who's had this beard style. Now that may be because it might not have actually existed. It might have just been an artistic liberty on those old Mesopotamian statues, but man, that would be a very interesting style to try out. I don't have a very straight beard, so maybe I could potentially get my beard into the long curls that those statues actually have. I don't know. I'll do a little bit of research into this one. I am not making any promises on this one at all because I have no idea if I can actually pull it off, but man, if I can, I will at least try to go for the Babylonian beard. Okay, Victor? And hey, thank you for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, and everything in between. Until I see you next week, guys, keep on growing.
Beardbrand is a premium men's grooming company with products not only for your beard, but also your hair and body. Do yourself a favor and head over to beardbrand.com and take care of yourself. Or you can stick around and watch a few more of our awesome videos.